Welcome to Immigration Insight, the podcast where we break down complex immigration topics with expert guidance. I'm your host, Harry, and today we're discussing an issue affecting many immigrants in the United States: layoffs. With the ongoing uncertainty in the job market, it's crucial for those on work visas to understand their options. Joining me, as always, is immigration attorney Shah Peerally, founder of the Shah Peerally Law Group. Shah, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Harry. I'm glad to be here. Layoffs can be stressful, especially for immigrants who are concerned about their immigration status. So, today we'll talk about some of the available options when someone on an H-1B or similar visa faces a layoff.
Let's start with one of the first steps people often consider after a layoff: changing status to a B-1B2 visa. Can you explain how this works?
Sure. If you're on an H-1B and you've been laid off, you have a 60-day grace period to either find another employer to sponsor you or change your visa status. One common option is to change your status to a B-1B2, which is the visitor visa. This can buy you some time, as a B-1B2 visa allows you to legally stay in the United States for up to 6 months. Though it's important to note that you can't work during this period. However, transitioning to a B-1B2 is just a temporary solution. It gives you time to explore your next steps, whether it's finding a new job, changing your status again, or preparing to leave the country.
That's helpful for short-term options. But let's move to another possibility that's been gaining attention recently: the Compelling Circumstances Employment Authorization Document, or EAD. Could you walk us through this option?
Of course, the Compelling Circumstances EAD is a relatively lesser-known option, but can be a lifesaver for certain people. If you're on an H-1B or another work visa and you lose your job, you may be eligible for an EAD if you can prove that compelling circumstances, such as a medical condition or significant hardship, are preventing you from maintaining your visa status. This EAD allows you to work in the US temporarily without needing to be tied to an employer sponsorship. However, the key challenge here is proving compelling circumstances. It's a high bar to meet, and this option may not apply to everyone. But for those who do qualify, it provides a lifeline to stay in the US and work while sorting out their long-term visa situation.
Now, what about those who are married to H-1B holders? What options are available for H-4 visa holders and the H-4 EAD? How can these be beneficial during layoffs?
Good question. If your spouse is on an H-1B visa, you may be on an H-4 visa. If the H-1B holder loses their job, the H-4 visa is also at risk, as it's dependent on the H-1B status. However, if the H-1B visa holder has an approved I-140, which is part of the green card process, the H-4 spouse may already have an H-4 EAD. This is crucial because the H-4 EAD allows the spouse to work independently of the H-1B holder's job status. If you already have an H-4 EAD, even if your spouse loses their job, you can continue working as long as their H-1B status is maintained or transferred to another employer. If you don't yet have an H-4 EAD, it's a good idea to file for one if your spouse has an approved I-140, as it can serve as a safety net.
So, Shah, to sum up, if someone faces a layoff, they have a few options: switching to a B-1B2 visitor status, applying for a Compelling Circumstances EAD, or if they're on an H-4, making sure they have an H-4 EAD. Any final thoughts for those facing layoffs?
Yes, Harry. The most important thing is not to panic. You have options, but timing is critical, so act fast. Seek legal advice to explore what works best for your situation. Also, remember that layoffs don't have to mean the end of your immigration journey. Stay informed and take the necessary steps to protect your status.
Thank you, Shah, for walking us through those options. For anyone listening, if you have more questions or need personalized advice, don't hesitate to reach out to the Shah Peerally Law Group. Thanks for tuning in to Immigration Insight. We'll see you next time with more valuable immigration information. Take care, everyone.
If you're navigating a layoff and need immigration advice, visit www.peerallylaw.com or 5107-425-887 for a consultation. Stay updated on immigration news by subscribing to Immigration Insight and following us on social media.